This is Arco, the new FDM 3D printer from Phrozen. Arco features a massive 300 by 300 by 300 build volume, open source Klipper firmware, and impressive print movement speeds. On top of the printer, we have what Phrozen calls the Chroma Kit. This enables multicolor and multi-material 3D printing. Phrozen is known worldwide for their resin 3D printers, and they've served over 100,000 customers in the US and Europe and South Korea, Japan, and beyond. We are excited here at Slice to announce a new partnership with Phrozen for 2024 that's gonna bring our GammaMaster Nozzle to Arco. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can be one of the very first to get this nozzle for free. I'm currently at the Phrozen office in Taiwan, and I had the opportunity to use these Arco printers over the last couple of days, and I'm super excited to give you a tour of the Arco printer. My first impression of the Arco when I arrived here in Taiwan was that it looks really heavy, and honestly it is. It comes in right about 50 pounds here with this empty version without the Pentashield and the Chroma Kit upgrade, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It is bottom heavy, which reduces the movement. It acts in the way that a lot of people you'll see when they have a printer, they'll put it on top of a concrete slab to lower the center of gravity so the printer itself isn't shaking and the table isn't shaking. So this is a rigid printer. It has a very heavy construction that's all metal, and it feels incredibly sturdy and stable. It makes me believe the claims where they say that it can get the 600 millimeters per second print speed and the 30,000 millimeters per second squared accelerations, because when this print head is moving, and I've been printing with it the last couple of days, it moves really fast. The printer itself doesn't move. If we move over to the printer and look at the hardware that Phrozen has to offer, you have linear rails on the X and Y axes, and then 4 lead screws on the Z axes on all 4 corners. And then also on the front right corner, you have a camera that's fixed to that axis onto that corner. And so it's going to actually stay with the nozzle as it moves up. So you'll have your camera tracking your print all the way. If we move to the front of the printer, you'll see a really large touchscreen here. I assume they're pulling that from their other printers, which have really large and prominent displays. It has good UI from everything that I can see, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. They've said that they have been focusing primarily on the hardware side of the printer, so they have not had time to devote to the actual touchscreen yet to get it completely across the finish line. But from first impressions, it does look really nice, and it's a very large touchscreen display. I do appreciate that it is a touchscreen. There are a lot of printers that are still coming out today that are new that don't have touchscreens, and I think any printer coming out today should have a touchscreen display. Next to that, you have a port where you can put in a USB if you want to just print directly on the printer. And if you move around to the back, we have your power cable and where you can turn on the printer with the on and off switch, and then also a port where you could plug in the optional Chroma Kit. Now for the part that we are most excited to talk about here at Slice, and that's the print head, because print heads are what we do. Now, it's not a mosquito on this printer, but they have their own technology in here called dual extrusion path, or DEP. And what they have done is they have shortened the filament path between the extruder gears and their hot end, so that way there is actually just very minimal distance between the gears and the hot end. So it makes it easier to print, flexible or difficult to print filaments. What we have actually integrated on this printer is the GammaMaster Nozzle that I'm super excited to talk about just a little bit later as well. This printer uses long nozzles. You might have heard of, called volcano style nozzles, typically 14 millimeter thread length. So it's going to have a longer melt zone on the hot end. It has a dual gear drive extruder system with 2 18 millimeter gears that are both feeding the material through the extruder, and we're just running the material all the way down with a Bowden tube from the top. Now the hot end on this printer is rated to 300 degrees Celsius. That means you're gonna be able to get up into the materials like your PETGs and your nylons, but you're not gonna be able to go beyond that. And their bed is rated to 120 Celsius. The chamber is not actively heated if you get the Pentashield, but the Pentashield does enclose heat. They have some documentation on their Facebook group that shows how well the chamber actually does enclose and hold heat, and it does a pretty good job. So if you're wanting to print some difficult to print filaments that print under that 300C limit, it will actually prevent them from warping and keep them temperature stable. So that is nice to see. And while we're looking at the printer with the Pentashield, it has 3 fixed sides, the 2 left and right panels and the back panel. The left and right panels are clear so you can see right through, and the back panel is that solid metal black. The top panel is removed. It doesn't have a hinge, so it just comes right off completely, giving you full access to the printer all the way around. And then the front panel has a hinge on the left side, opening all the way up. It opens quite a bit, giving you access into the printer. The hinge can't be moved over to the other side, but Phrozen has indicated that they are open to evaluating people's feedback on that for future versions of Arco. Another thing worth noting about the Arco is it doesn't use locked down firmware like some other options on the market. It uses open source Klipper firmware. I spoke to Phrozen CEO, asked why they decided to go that route, and he said they didn't want to remake the wheel, that there's already a really great option out there with Klipper, wanted to give people the open source access that they wanted to be able to do with Arco what their projects demanded. It also has a unique bed leveling feature. Phrozen has developed their own patented bed leveling that uses 25 points. I wasn't able to get a whole lot of info about the way that their bed leveling works because it's patented, but it does work, and it printed flawlessly every time that I saw it. Didn't have any first layer failures while I was here with the printer. So you're getting unique technology that is customized and designed specifically for Arco so you can get the best performance out of the printer, but you also get open source firmware that allows you to actually get into the machine and dial it in for your specific use case. One really exciting thing about Arco is the Chroma Kit unit that we have here on top of the printer. Chroma Kit enables multicolor and multi-material printing. I confirmed with the team here at Phrozen that you are going to be able to use third-party filaments. That's something that people were concerned about online, and I wasn't really sure why, but they did also tell me that it's not recommended to use cardboard spools. Over the last few days, I've had some awesome experiences with the Chroma Kit, but something that was a little bit of a concern to me was the large purge block when doing the multicolor printing. So I had the opportunity to interview a member of their team about the purge block and the direction they're looking to take that process over the future. Let's take a look at that. I'm joined now with someone from the Phrozen team. This is Andrew. If you don't mind, I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Talk to me a little bit about this block, and is this something that people can expect on the final version of Arco when it's sent to backers later on?
No problem. So I'm Andrew. I'm from the R&D team at Phrozen. So I've been involved in development of the printer, and I'm going to walk you through our current updates. The first approach is that we will be minimizing and reducing the size of the purge blocks physically. Currently, we have been able to reduce the size by over 40%. We are also turning part of the purge block into spaghetti-like strands. So we are going to free up a lot of the printing spaces here. The second solution that we are approaching is to optimize the slicer and to improve our algorithm. More specifically, we are trying to optimize the timing of the color change so we can reduce the times that it has to change, so make the entire process more fluent. Also, we are working on minimizing the length of the filament that being cut, so reducing the waste in that department as well. And our third approach is to optimize the printing orders. So we will start from the lighter color first, and then eventually working toward the darker filaments. And with that, we can minimize the color contamination, and we can make the printing process more efficient. And the fourth solution we're working on is to incorporate some selected models into the purge blocks itself, so we can make the purge block no longer a waste, but something that is actually useful and people might find it helpful during the prints.
That's really cool. Do you have any ideas so far about what potential prints those could be?
Yeah, there are a couple examples. So for example, like handhold or a cup, or something that's structurally easy to put into the print block itself.
Yeah.
So people can go creative about it as well. That's something we've been working on. So we'll keep everybody posted on how it works.
I talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the video, but we are super excited to announce a new collaboration with Phrozen that's gonna bring our GammaMaster nozzle to Arco. If you're not familiar, GammaMaster is an abrasion-resistant nozzle with excellent thermal performance and great anti-adhesive qualities. Now, why does that matter? GammaMaster is going to unlock the Arco and allow you to print great abrasive materials as well as all of the other things that you were already able to do on the Arco, and it's gonna just take it to the next level. We're super excited to be partnering with Phrozen and joining their Kickstarter collaboration with a stretch goal. Now, if they reach $1.8 million on their Kickstarter, then all backers who support the Kickstarter are going to receive a GammaMaster nozzle that is custom made and co-branded for the Arco for free. So if you support the Arco Kickstarter before it ends on April 7th, you're going to be one of the first people to receive this custom nozzle for the Arco. We're super excited to partner with Phrozen, and we hope that you are excited about the Arco too. Now, if you want to learn more about the Arco or the GammaMaster collaboration, you can find out all the information you need about it on their Kickstarter page or their Facebook group. They have a really active community there, and their entire team is involved in answering questions and showing off the printer and test prints all the time. I'm excited to see how this is going to continue to improve by the time that it launches in a few months. If you're interested in learning more about Arco, we're going to include links to everything in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We've got some more exciting content coming out over the next couple of weeks. The campaign for Arco ends on April 7th, and don't forget to stay zesty.